Halloween is getting closer and closer, gamers, and today I have another spooky drawing tutorial for you. We're going to make the Beast from GTA 5. Now, for today's drawing tutorial, all you really need is a simple pencil and eraser, handy-dandy pencil sharpener. Let's get spooky. Now, first things first. Go down towards the bottom of your paper, and this is where we're going to make the legs of our beast, or werewolf, if you will. So make the left leg, and go ahead and make a circle to indicate his knee. That's going to be an important part of this drawing tutorial for the beginning section. And then we're going to make his other leg, which we're not going to actually complete this leg. We're going to have the frontal view. We're going to make the wolf like he's running at you, trying to get you. Now this guy is basically like a teenager, if you will, turned into a wolfman of sorts, and he has a varsity jacket on. Kind of reminds me from the movie Teen Wolf or the movie I Was a Teenage Wolf. Not really too sure, but if anyone could, feel free to do some research on that. That would be cool. But I know it was from one of those movies from the 80s or 90s. So once you're done working on the leg section of this sketch, go on to what's going to be the torso and where we're going to make our varsity jacket further on. And of course, from those sides, cascading down, you want to make the two arms. Now this is a pretty simple sketch. Basically, we're just working on the legs, so it's not too complicated of a section, and we're just making a slanted type of shape which will indicate our torso. Now our arms are just bented slightly down, kind of like he's holding something, but really he doesn't have anything in his hands. He's in like a jogging or running motion, if you will. And for his hands, just make the basic outline of fingers. So yeah, it's pretty simple. Now there's a good still little image right there until we get on to the further sections of this drawing. We'll be making the head soon. So yeah, guys, have you played this game mode? Have you actually became the Beast? Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's a free roam game mode, in free roam, of course, in GTA 5. And I thought it would be a cool thing, since we already done a ghost and a zombie, might as well do a werewolf. Now, this is where we're going to do the head. Head is just a basic shape, just an oval, and we'll work on that and touch it up, of course. Now, in the middle of the head, as I'm doing right now, make a basic cross shape right there. This is where we're going to make like an open T type of shape. And this is where we're going to add his face. And all that open space around that little T shape we made is going to be his hair. And of course, make the little growling mouth, nose, and of course the eyes as well. And here's a good overview of the sketch. Now we're continuing on. So, like we did with the sketch, we're starting from the legs and we're working our way up. So what I did right there is shaping my pants until before I actually go in and add in the necessary detailing for the pants. And you'll see in a little bit. So, before we do that, just shaping the pants, you know, make them look more realistic than they were before. And not as solid and plastic looking as they did in the sketch. Alright, now we're going to make the folds. Now before you do that, you see that little line I'm making towards the left leg? That's basically like the seams of the pants, or the stitching, if you will. You'll find it in jeans. He's wearing like a pair of jeans. Now of course in the crotch area you want to make the little flap, or just the southern part of the pants right there. Not really too sure what to call it. Well, the zipper area, if you will. Which is pretty simple. Just like a U type of shape right there in the middle. And of course, you know, fine-tune your lines, define your lines, and this is where we're going to add in some wrinkles, which are just sharp-looking, thin lines. You can add them anywhere. But of course, I like to, for any drawing tutorial, I like to stay accurate, so I add in the wrinkles that at least try to stay accurate into the drawing. And if you want to do the same thing I'm doing, go ahead. But here's the thing, don't strive to do it perfectly. Of course, you can't really, you know, do it perfectly. But if you want to make it try to look accurate, you know, then fine. But really, it doesn't always have to depend on accuracy. Unless you're making, you know, portraits of actors or family members or yourself, of course, in that case, you want to be accurate. For this is just like a fictional Halloween type of character that we're making. So really, we could go wild with our imagination because this is an imaginative character that we're drawing here. So guys, don't let these little artistic restrictions hold you back from making a really cool and fantastic piece of art. Because in some cases, that can, you know, stop people from doing that. And I hope it doesn't happen to you guys. And of course, you want to do the same treatment for the pants. Of course, add them anywhere. Of course, you can just leave it plain, but you don't want to do that. You want to add some nice detail. Make it look really cool. So, that's the pants, and now of course, we're going to work on the varsity jacket, which is one of my favorite parts, aside from the face, because I love drawing faces of characters, especially if it's a Wolfman. But the varsity jacket was really cool, because I always enjoyed, like, the jacket video. If you haven't seen that one, check it out if you want to. But I did really did enjoy making his varsity jacket, or jersey, if you will. Not really jersey, but his varsity jacket. I don't know why I was calling it a jersey before. It's appropriately named the varsity jacket. But yeah, I really did enjoy that. And it's pretty much, you know, exactly the same thing, just a little bit different. Jacket's jersey was open, but this guy's is just closed. It's button tight. And of course, you want to go ahead and shape and you know, erase any sketch lines that you have. And we're working now at the bottom, like at the belt area right here. Now, of course, there's like stitching in the bottom parts, like the sleeves of the bottom of the jersey and the sleeves of the wrists as well. There's like some stitching and knitting right there that you want to capture, which is basically, for those stitchings, just make like a grid, pretty much just lines going vertically and lines going across. And right there's your little grid, and that will be your little stitching right there. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, stay until the end of the video to see a good overview, like I do for all my drawing tutorials. I show you an overview, you can get a closer look. But yeah, just basically make a belt all around the varsity jacket, and that line that I'm making upwards to the head, of course, is going to be the seams of the jacket where you can open the varsity jacket up. And I made little like collar type of shapes around the bottom of his chin or head, if you will. And I go all the way down, and there are a total of 4 buttons on the right side of his jacket. Of course, like I said, this is a closed jacket, unlike Jacket's jacket. So yeah, make 4 little simple circles, small little circles, not too big, not too small. And right here, of course, like any type of clothing, it will have its wrinkles and its folds. So of course, put that in there. And you can't forget, you can't have a varsity jacket without having those classic looking little pockets right there. So make one on the right side, and off really far to the left side, there's also going to be a pocket. And going up to his left shoulder, you can see there's a lot of wrinkles. Actually, there's a lot of wrinkles, probably because he's adding in a lot of action going backwards as he's sprinting towards you. So you want to capture the movement, you know. Of course, when you're drawing like a character running or sprinting, you want to capture the clothes, you know, if they're wearing clothes. Hopefully they are wearing clothes when they're sprinting, but you know, when they're sprinting, you want to capture that movement, those wrinkles, the impact on the clothing as they're doing whatever movement that they're doing. You want to capture that into your drawing. And right here we're making the letter, which in varsity jackets you will always see on the right side in the upper corner, you know, a letter to represent your team or your school. And in this case, it's going to be a W, and we all know that for that. What's that for? Sorry. It's basically W for Wolf, and it's in this like high school type of lettering font. So just make a blocky type of high school letter font, and we're going to make and just outline around it, and also outline that, and then outline that outline with like a little darker outline, as you can see closely right there. And of course, clean up your drawing. If you see really any dark lines, go ahead and, you know, clean that up. And of course, around the W we made is just wrinkles, of course. Now, you don't have to make a double. You can make any letter you want. But, you know, when I'm drawing a wolf, a wereman or whatever, you know, a letter that I would like to associate this guy would be the letter W. And this is where we're completing the main body of the varsity jacket. Just make sure you get those wrinkles and those important little details that makes a varsity jacket, like, of course, the buttons, the letter, the pockets, and, of course, you know, little details like the collar below and the belt. So yeah, guys, we're shaping our Teen Wolf kind of dude. He's looking great. Just keep going with it, keep working with it, keep playing around with it, you know. And also, I encourage you, I didn't really show myself shading just to save some time, but really, I encourage you to try different values, different textures, different shading techniques. And what I did was not going by the picture, which is not really common for me. I always try to go by the picture, especially with shading. You know, I always try to pay attention to the shading of the actual picture. But for this one, you know, I wanted this guy to look really, you know, shady and gritty. So I just pretty much went darker with my shading values around his left arm and his face, and you can see that in the beginning of the video, but you'll see it more up close towards the end. But yeah, the picture that I got from this was like a little screenshot of the beast in daylight. And I was like, you know what? That's no fun. That's not Halloweeny. So he's gonna be like in a more dark night type of environment. And for the hands are pretty simple. There's actually fur coming out of his varsity jacket, and it's covering his hands. See, I love this. I love the look, because it reminds me of that one movie that starred Mark Campbell, I think it was, and he was turning into this werewolf, and he was like maybe a football player or some. He was a high schooler in high school, and of course he had a varsity jacket. Now I'm not sure if it had a W on it, but you know, he had a varsity jacket, and he was turning into this wereman, you know, and it was this classic 80s, 90s looking werewolf. Like, you know, where it's like a humanoid werewolf. It wasn't like a full out actual wolf. It was just, I love that. I love 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s movie monsters, B movies. I love it. I can't get enough of it. I honestly, it's so cool. I'm just nerding out right now. You know, Frankenstein. What was that monster from a lagoon or something like that? You know, oh man, I'm probably making a lot of people mad right now because I'm not remembering the names to the most iconic Universal monsters. Oh man, I'm sorry about that. Not too good with researching, even though I didn't do any researching at all. But yeah, just to fine-tune your lines of the fingers and also the fur as well. Now, what I do with my fur is just make straight, well, not too straight, but I just make roundish lines that will replicate hair, and hair's not really that hard to do. But of course, if you're making like a big afro or a big patch of hair, you want to try to stay accurate to the movement of that hair. And yeah, I mean, once you really get down to it, it's not going to be really that hard. But it might take some others longer. It might take you longer than others. But hey, don't worry, don't feel discouraged. Now, go ahead and we're going to work on our werewolf or wereman, the beast head. And as you can see, I'm erasing mostly the cross sign that we made. And now we're getting into the juicy parts of the face. We're making the actual hair and the fur. Now, what I was talking about, the hands earlier, I just make roundish lines, like little arches, if you will. And these arches get smaller and smaller when you get to the sides of heads, into the sides of the head, and it gets bigger and bigger when you get to up to the forehead, as you can see right now. And really just try to stay accurate to the movement of the hair, and also the oval shape will be also shaping as well. So, you know, make it a little bit bumpy around the sides and on the top to add more detailing and more of a wereman shape head. Of course, you want to do the same treatment all around the head, except for the middle face right there. So yeah, that's a good, so yeah, when you're doing the sketch, make sure you put that vital T, open T shape in the middle of your wereman's face, because that's very important, guys. I mean, of course, you can, you know, forget about that. You don't have to do that. You don't have to make this T shape, but it will help you out in the long run, trust me. And of course, he has 2 little ears. His ears are actually not human-like. Of course, he's a wereman now, they're kind of human-like, but they're kind of like sharp at the end, and they're kind of sharp at the end, like elf's ears, if you will. Now we're going on to the face. Now he has some really like fleshy-like cheeks going around and arching. And it just arches off and connects to the nose, as you can see, and we have like this wolf dog-like nose. And this guy's kind of like devilishly smiling, and he has these fangs and teeth, which are pretty easy. Just make small little teeth in the middle and make 2 longish-like fangs. Don't make them too long, like a cobra's long fangs. Just make them a little longer than the middle teeth right there. So yeah, the mouth and the eyes and the face are not really too complicated. Nothing's really too complicated. It's pretty much simplistic, as long as you know, follow the actual guidelines and, you know, just follow the tutorial. You'll be good. As you can see, we're making one badass, spooky-looking wereman right now. Now we're working on the eyes, which add in some shading around the eyes as well, and also the eyebrows. So this guy is going to be looking like he's, you know, he's hunting for some teenage girls, you know. And of course, make the little tiny pupils, which are going to be kind of cartoonish-like. They're going to be like, just make a black little circle and just leave a little space